Western Mass News getting answers on a Northampton storefront that's been vacant now for months. Good Monday evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on Western Mass News at 6 on this President's Day. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Beth Ward. The building that used to house La Florentina Bakery will soon open its doors again with a new owner and a new focus, hoping to tackle drugs and addiction in the community.
Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live from Northampton now with more. Audrey?
You can still see the sign in the window from when La Fiorentina Bakery went out of business in this particular location back in August. They were thanking their customers for more than 2 decades of service. But now this building is going to be renovated and it'll be the new home base for the Northampton Recovery Center. I spoke with the program director today, and she tells me that they expect to get everything up and running within a couple of months.
We probably have maybe 60 or 70 unique people, so we could easily double that.
The program director for the Northampton Recovery Center tells Western Mass News she has high hopes for the old La Fiorentina Bakery location in the city. Lynn Farrow says the NRC needed to move somewhere bigger in order to expand their services.
The state funding that we got required us to be in over 2,000 square feet, and where we were was only 1,000 square feet, so we had to move in order to take the funding.
Farrow says the NRC is a community space to help those coming out of detox, residential rehab, or incarceration continue their recovery from addiction. Farrow walked us through the old bakery, reimagined as a recovery space once renovation permits are obtained.
We have a large meeting room, we'll have a smaller meeting room, we'll have a room where a recovery coach can be with someone. We don't anticipate moving in until May.
I volunteered at the center since October 2017, basically doing the same things. So it's kind of neat to be employed there now.
The move and the funding have allowed the NRC to hire staff from what was initially a base of volunteers. John Sullivan, one of those volunteers turned employee, says the bakery location will help the center achieve more visibility to the rest of Northampton.
I think the walk-by is great because the only thing we really suffer from is not everybody knows about us.
Residents say the juxtaposition between the downtown commerce and a center focused on addiction will help normalize recovery.
In times of immense economic inequality, it seems like a very positive thing. A lot of these restaurants here in downtown are very expensive. I will miss the cannolis that was at the cafe. That was very good. That will be missed, but it seems like a fine thing to come in its place.
Last week, Western Mass News covered the State Department of Health's report saying that there are fewer opioid overdose-related deaths within the whole state. Some local organizations were refuting that, saying that when you look at just Western Massachusetts, those numbers are actually on the rise. We spoke with the NRC about this issue, and they said that part of the good thing about them being able to move into this building is that they'll be able to do more outreach to some of those struggling populations that maybe wouldn't ask for help in the first place. Live in Northampton, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. A bill that would allow undocumented immigrants to apply for a driver's license passed the Transportation Committee earlier this month.
Supporters could not be happier, but tonight we are hearing from the other side. Western Mass News reporter Caroline Powers is in the studio with more. Caroline?
Well, Beth and Chris, dozens of state officials, some local law enforcement, and more than 150 businesses across the Pioneer Valley have shown their support for the act relative to work and family mobility. But tonight we are hearing from those who have concerns and are against the legislation. It's taken several times for legislation allowing undocumented immigrants to get a driver's license to make it out of committee. But on February 5th, the Transportation Committee passed the Work and Family Mobility Act and sent it on to the Senate. Supporters say this is a big step for the bill that allows all people in Massachusetts to become safe, licensed, and insured drivers. But others tell Western Mass News they don't think the legislation would make our roads safer.
If these people were willing to drive before illegally, then they're not going to be following our laws the proper way. And if they weren't driving prior, that they don't have the experience on our roads to operate safely and to maintain the responsibility that we have to other motorists to operate safely.
In a statement to Western Mass News, Springfield Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood says, passing this bill would make our roads more dangerous, putting your family and our officers at greater risk. The research I've read makes it clear the roads are not any safer in the states that allow this, and that is the priority. I stand with Governor Baker, who has publicly opposed this bill as well. Mayor Dominic Sarno echoed the commissioner's words, saying, "The policies currently in place that require all citizens to produce multiple documents in order to renew their driver's license are in place for a reason. It makes no sense to allow an undocumented immigrant to walk into an RMV and receive a driver's license with any less scrutiny."
Get these people the right path to citizenship, do it the right way, follow the rules, follow the laws to maintain this country of laws that we've been since the inception of the Constitution.
Now, while this bill goes next to the Senate, Governor Baker has said he would likely veto any such measure if it lands on his desk. For Western Mass News, I'm Caroline Powers.
It's been a bright and sunny day today. Temperatures are falling with the clear skies that we have currently. We reached into the low 40s. We're now down into the middle 30s for our current temperatures, 20s as you go into Worthington, and 30 degrees in Charlemont. So we have the clear conditions, a few clouds off to the west. Those will try to build in, and they do build in as we go further into the night with our storm system off into the Great Lakes in the Midwest, moving in our direction. It's going to take its time getting here, arrives mid to late morning. And as it does, we do get some initial snowfall before changing over to some rain. In fact, as we pause this for the morning commute, you see the clouds that have built on in, that leading edge of snow not far away. So we get a few early snowflakes by noontime, 1 o'clock, everyone getting in on the snow before that transitions over to some rain. And on the backside of this, we start to see the clearing. And this is going to be the story over the next really week or so, the dry conditions and sunshine that we will see. So tonight falling into the mid to low 20s, you're waking up with those clouds around, but initially dry. Pretty quickly, though, we turn to some snow, wintry mix, and then over to rain. It will be a wet evening commute as highs reach into the upper 30s to near 40 degrees. Lots to talk about with the extended forecast, including a cool down and then a warm up. All that's ahead in just a few, guys.
Jacob, thanks. We've seen a recent uptick in chimney fires across the state. The latest at a house in Wilbraham just over this weekend.
Well, that's why firefighters are speaking up, giving advice on how to prevent a similar disaster from happening in your home. Western Mass News reporter Sabrina Riley has the story.
Western Mass News was on scene Saturday night as firefighters from Wilbraham worked to contain a chimney fire on Ridge Road. Northampton Deputy Fire Chief Andrew Piles tells Western Mass News that scenes like this are something they work to prevent through proper education and awareness.
We're definitely strong in prevention in Northampton, and we like to get the word out as far as preventing fires and chimney fires.
While their department hasn't had a chimney fire this season, it's typically just a matter of time.
Yeah, this time of year we usually get 1 or 2 chimney fires. Most chimney fires are created from a buildup of creosote, and when it's not properly cleaned, that builds up and ends up catching fire in the chimney.
And Deputy Chief Piles tells Western Mass News that they recommend a yearly inspection to prevent chimney fires.
We usually say at the start of the season, get it done. And depending on how much buildup you had from the previous season, they might recommend getting it done again during the season.
In these inspections, they will not only look for that creosote buildup, but also that your chimney isn't cracked. Piles says a cracked chimney quickly leads to fire spreading to your entire home. That's why he says if you have a fire in your chimney, whatever you do, don't use water.
Try to contain it to the chimney when we get there. Sometimes people spray water trying to put the fire out, and that ends up cracking the chimney and sometimes can create more problems.
Piles also advises making sure you're only burning hard, dried woods, keeping your wood at least 3 foot from your fireplace, never using an accelerant like gasoline, and always having a cap on your chimney. But if you do find yourself with a fire in your chimney,
the big thing is people trying to put chimney fires out and sometimes put themselves in harm's way. The best thing to do is to make sure the screen is closed, call 911, and let the professionals try to take care of it.
Sabrina Riley, Western Mass News.